I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Friday, June the 2nd, brought to you in part by Noromycin by Norbrook. Noromycin 300 LA is economical. Bottle for bottle, it treats 33% more head compared to the 200 milliliter oxytetracycline injectables, but in a lower dose. Also, it's prescription only starting June the 11th, so you guys might want to stock up on it right away. For more information, go to norbrook.com. Fundamentals Prevail. I love it. You guys know I'm a fundamental guy, and so much of the time the technical indicators seem like they're driving the market more than the fundamentals, which drives me crazy. But the board had to catch up. We're in June now, and your spot June live cattle had to catch up, and they were falling so far behind. Been running $12 to $15 basis here for the last several weeks, and you know, it was great for your hedged up cattle feeders, but their basis jumpers kind of let their market position just kind of peter out as they kept jumping on the basis. Then we got to June now all of a sudden, and now your people are worried about getting delivered upon. Well, it's not going to get delivered upon because it's still rendered at such a discount, but it had to catch up at least to a point, and it was up nearly the limit, which the limits are sky high anymore, but was up huge on Thursday, still running at a $5 discount to what our Southern Plains cash was on Thursday, so it's got some more up to go, but it really gave a shot to your cattle market, and it gave us a little confidence in what's going on in the real world. I've had some good feeder flashes this week, or one on Wednesday the 31st, had some really cool punchy picks if you guys want to go back and check that out. And then on the last one we had for Thursday, I talked about how we were going to infinity and beyond, and I hate to cover those up, and they're not covered up. You can go back and watch them, but when I put a new one out, if somebody's going to watch a feeder flash, they're going to watch the newest one. But I always want to leave a good one for the weekend, but sure proud to give you these markets here on Friday with the fundamentals prevailing, and I can't talk that up more enough. But you know, your fat cattle market just went gangbusters on Thursday. We don't see a $9 gain in the Southern Plains ever. We saw that on Thursday. Still running at almost a $10 discount to what the Northern Plains is bringing, but just shot up so much, and so happy about that. I've got to give some credit to Central Stockyards Fed Cattle Exchange, the online fed cattle marketing format there that includes competition. You think we might need some competition in the market. We don't have near enough of it in the Southern Plains, but they had competition, and that happened in the morning. And we saw some cattle sell well on a bid to grid, which there were beef on dairies on Wednesday, but on Thursday we saw cattle sell on Fed Cattle Exchange there at 173.50, and then some more at 174.50. Last week's market was 171. So selling cattle at 174.50 on Thursday morning, that enlightened everybody how short these packers were. And all your majors were bidding on the cattle, and soon after your Fed Cattle Exchange closed, then we had bids in the country at 175. And you think, well, I'm just going to take that. No, you've got to participate in the competitive bidding. And that's what not enough people do, is participate in the negotiations to make the market and not just take the market. But by late morning in Texas, there were 175 bids. That's $4 higher. Well, without buying very many cattle already. And then it just went after that, just bang, bang, bang. My phone was going off like gangbusters. It brought in the Northern Plains, and we just kept seeing higher bids, higher bids, higher bids, higher sales. People selling cattle higher in a negotiated manner, till finally late in the day we saw these huge gains in the cash fed cattle market, which is the market for all cattle. Everything else is just a derivative of what your once a week fed cattle market is. But we saw several price levels set as people took the market, thought that was as high as they was going to get. Some people with really good cattle just kept asking for more and getting it. By the end of the day on Thursday, we saw top quality fed cattle in the northern plains bringing 190, and we saw cattle in the southern plains bringing 180. Still a $10 difference there, but that's just the way of the world right now. But huge gains there. And of course your board saw big gains on there. But when was the last time we saw more sales in the southern plains? I'm talking about volume in the southern plains than we saw in the northern plains. Well, on confirmed sales on Thursday, we saw Kansas sell more cattle than Nebraska. We saw Texas sell more cattle than they did in Iowa. We never see that. But your packers have just kept banging on the northern plains looking for those best grading cattle and just kept digging and digging and digging on those cattle till they're out of cattle. And everybody thought that once we got into the summer we're going to be on higher supplies of market ready cattle. We are not. We are still very, very tight on market ready supplies. This market is just getting going good. I mean, it was a great day on Thursday. It'll be one of the best days that we've seen ever in your cattle markets, but still we've got more to go because we have got really, really tight supplies of market ready cattle. We've got hungry packers. We've got good beef demand from consumers and even for export, even though it's not as much as what it may have been in the past, but it's just absolutely great. And we saw brisk beef sales last week. With the holiday markets coming in, starting out the summer with a lot of holiday weekends coming up, a lot of grilling demand out there, and that spurred everything. But how much will this market bear? And we know that tight supplies are going to continue to keep the market good, and we think that the market's got more to go. We broke all-time record highs with that 190 in the northern plains. That's higher than we've ever seen anywhere. Cash fed cattle sales. The 180 is higher than we've ever seen in the southern plains with cash fed cattle sales. But how much will this market bear? How high can we go? Your beef is high in the stores, but we still have good demand for it. And likely your packers and your middlemen and your wholesalers are not wanting to give up much of their margin. But, there's got to be a point where we get to where we can't go any higher. That's yet to be seen, but I think we've got some more to go there. But I want to say congratulations to those that went long the June live cattle futures. I was talking about it a couple of months ago. I had several guys call me on Thursday because 3 months ago I was talking about how the June live cattle was much undervalued. I mean, horribly undervalued, and told people that it might be a good investment to take a long position in June live cattle futures. I even had other analysts, send me messages saying you need to be more disciplined in how you're talking to people about the markets because, people are listening to you, and that's just not a disciplined way to tell people to take a Texas hedge like that because, that's really not for them to do. Nobody in the industry is supposed to go long live cattle futures. Well, we don't have anybody on the outside that's picking up the slack and taking long positions in your live cattle futures, especially there. But, that market's jostled around the last couple of months, but everybody got healed up on Thursday with your June live cattle futures up 577, and I had a lot of people tell me that it pays to listen to the feeder flash, and that just makes me feel good. But let's talk about this wild board that we had on Thursday. June live cattle futures indeed up 577. I mean, that is enough to make anybody stand at attention. And these big limits that we put on your daily moves is likely what is taking a lot of your outside interest out, because it's enough to take anybody's head off one way or the other. But up 577 at 174.90, and we sold cattle in the southern plains at 180, and indeed we are in June. So it is still undervalued, guys. August live cattle up 470 at 172.37. Your back months were all up big from 2 1/4 to up 410 on your back months on live cattle futures. Feeder cattle, August feeder cattle up 247. They were down late morning. They were down some because your grains were up, but people started paying attention to the live cattle board, and they started taking attention to the cash market trade, and they got in, and it went from being down quite a bit there late morning to closing up 247 on your August feeder cattle. All important August contract at 241.65. So now we've seen all-time record highs in your feeder cattle futures. November 23 feeder cattle futures closed at 247.47. That's an all-time high. And then go out to April 24, and that was 249.22, the highest that we've ever seen feeder cattle futures trade. But September feeder cattle up 272 at 244.95. Back months on feeder cattle up 285 to up 420. Now your grains were up some too. December new crop corn up 8 1/4 cents at 5.30. Beans up 22.5 at 11.69. Kansas City hard red winter wheat July contracts up 12 cents at 802.5. Fat cattle trade, loving to give this to you guys. Iowa had confirmed sales 7,500 head and 7,900 for the week, so they hadn't sold anything. The short week helped us because people didn't puke cattle earlier in the week because Monday was a holiday. Tuesday, where they were just getting back to business. Wednesday, they finally started paying attention, and your packers are looking up, and they hadn't bought any cattle so far this week, and they were hungry, short bought, hand to mouth, no blood on the floor, and so only 7,900 for the week in Iowa and 7,500 on Thursday. But live sales in Iowa confirmed from 182 to 187. Dress sales from 288 to 292. Haven't seen that before. Nebraska 10,600 head confirmed on Thursday. 11,800 head for the week. 175 to 188. Big spread there. The guys that took 175 early were thinking, what in the world was I thinking when they sold cattle up to 188? And then, like I told you, there were sales late in the day past the 2 o'clock deadline to get confirmed from USDA, but there was some 190 paid by regionals in the Northern Plains on Thursday. But dress sales from 285 to 290 to 50 in Nebraska. Kansas sold 10,700 head on Thursday. They'll likely sell more here on Friday, but 12,000 head for the week. After Thursday, we don't see that confirmed. That was more than Nebraska, like I told you earlier, but live sales in Kansas from 175 to 180, and 180 was the market by Thursday afternoon. Texas sold 7,400 head on Thursday and 8,200 head for the week. That's more than Iowa sold this week. We just don't see that. And live sales in Texas from 173.5 to 180, $9 higher than the bulk of the trade last week. But box beef cutout values were actually mixed. They were up in the morning. We thought they were going to be a bunch higher, then settle back in the afternoon. But choice cuts on Thursday afternoon, 306.44. That was up 60 cents. Selects down 83 cents at 286.32. Your slaughter has been a little bit disappointing, but we're on a holiday week, so you have to compare that to a year ago's holiday week. We had 382,000 up through Thursday. That's 5,000 less than the same holiday week a year ago. Will we have more Saturday kill this week? Remains to be seen. But talk about what else is going on. Safeguard wormer. You trust cubes, blocks, and mineral to give your cattle supplements that they need. That's how you can be sure cattle are being effectively wormed with Safeguard feed formulations. That's the way that you give it with Safeguard, guys. It's a good way to do it. You can also text DOSER to 48109 for a chance to win a Safeguard Power Doser. For more information on Safeguard, go to safeguardworks.com. Talk about your feeder cattle markets, your real-time index on DV auction late in the day on Thursday, set at $212.76, up another $2.37. And that is real time, guys. That is through Thursday's sales. So gained big. I know we lost some through the holiday weekend there on light receipts and kind of hodgepodge sales there, but we are back in control now with as good of movement as we're going to see, good of volume as we're going to see on 7 to 899 pound steers for your real-time index. And it doesn't take many yearlings to draw a crowd anymore, and you guys might want to pay attention when there's some for sale. Here on DV Auction, we broadcast the auction in Lucedale, Mississippi every week. It's owned by Molly Herring and Eric Weaver. They're good friends of mine. And they also own the sale in Meridian, Mississippi, which years ago was a big market, but the way that we've had people move into that area and it's not as many cattle, Meridian is not as big a sale anymore. But those guys own Meridian Livestock also. They're going to have a big sale on Monday, including 6 load lots of yearling feeders, guys. Where are you going to find them? But they got 3 coming through the ring there in Meridian, Mississippi. Get on the phone, talk to guys, get an order into Meridian, Mississippi on 3 loads of yearlings there. They're going to weigh somewhere between 600 and 900 pounds, but they are true yearlings, backgrounded yearlings there, guys. And then they're having a board sale in Meridian. My friend Sam Blakeney's got 3 loads of cattle coming on the auction there for the board sale, Meridian, Mississippi. All these cattle, both the 3 loads through the ring and the 3 loads on the board sale, were bought as peewees. They've been backgrounded on the ryegrass. They've run out of that, and that is going to be roughly around 2 o'clock Central on Monday, so pay attention to that. Talk about your big sales on Thursday. Winter Livestock in Pratt, Kansas sold 2,700 head. The feeders were quoted $9 to $12 higher, spots $20 higher. I heard from buyers that were there at Pratt said that it was adults only to be watching that sale. It was just X-rated, which I thought was kind of comical there. But calves not well tested, not many calves moving right now, guys. But Pratt was also our national beef wire stick out sale of the day. Look at this automated marker report from Pratt, Kansas, and you see 278 head of 7-weight steers in Pratt, average 752 pounds with a weighted average price of $229.03. 720 head of 8-weight feeder steers in Pratt, Kansas. They averaged 845 pounds and had a weighted average price on all of them, over 700 head, of $222.94. Are you kidding me? And then 318 head of 9-weight steers in Pratt averaged 931, the weighted average price of $214.29. Look at the best tested weight of heifers there was 308 head of 7-weight heifers. They averaged 757 with a weighted average price of $213.40. Give you several individual quotes from all around, and things were just set on its ear with everything going on with the board and your fat cattle trade. But Mitchell Livestock Marketing in Mitchell, South Dakota, they sold 67 steers, weighed 608 at $272.25. Wow. It's big out east too, guys. Bluegrass Stockyard South in Stanford, Kentucky sells 57 steers, weighed 876 pounds, standing in the ring in Stanford, Kentucky at $210. My goodness. Columbus Sales Pavilion, Columbus, Nebraska sells 86 steers, weighed 990 pounds at $215. But the most impressive quote that I saw anywhere on Thursday, your Macrocin, no BS, top quote for the day, indeed come out of Winter Livestock in Pratt, Kansas, which is also our stick out sale. They sold 67 steers in one whack, weighed 816 pounds at $236.50. And that's your feeder flash for Friday.